Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another day of virtual preschool. I am so glad you have decided to join me for circle time today. Let's figure out what the day is. So the last day of school we had was Wednesday, Thursday. So today is Friday. Yes, let's move that rainbow arrow down to Friday. Oops, right there. And who remembers the name of our month? March. Yes, so let's go ahead and count those numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. What comes next? 25. Yes, and let's figure out the pattern. Clover, clover, leprechaun, leprechaun, rainbow, rainbow. What comes next? Clover. So we have a number 25 with a clover on it. All right, that was yesterday. That was a 3's class day, so we need to do one more. 23, 24, 25. What comes next? 26. And let's figure out the pattern. Clover, clover, leprechaun, leprechaun, rainbow, rainbow. Clover. What comes next? Clover. So we have a number 26 with a clover on it. All right. So let's say the whole date. Today is Friday, March 26th, 2021, and it is the last day of school before our spring break. Next week is our spring break, so there will not be any circle times or small groups next week. All right, and we were talking about the fact that it changed seasons, right? We looked at our weather wheel or our seasons wheel and saw that it changed from winter to spring over the weekend, right? And I have some pictures to show you. Remember how we have the pictures up on the bulletin board? We have fall pictures, we have winter pictures, and I am going to be adding spring pictures. So this word says spring. And I have some pictures that kind of show some spring weather. You can see in this picture the ground is really wet because it's been raining, and it's really cloudy, right? Because in the spring we have lots of rain. And then we have a picture of a person fishing, but you see that on the trees we now have lots of green leaves, and you can see that there's grass growing and other plants that are growing, because in the spring all the plants come back, right? They all start budding again and growing. And in this picture you can see some beautiful flowers and also green grass and green leaves on the trees. More signs of spring. All right, so I will be hanging those up on the bulletin board like the other ones. Now we need to look at the weather. So look out your window, and when you look out your window, does it look partly cloudy, cloudy, sunny, windy, rainy, stormy, or snowy? And if you step out the door, does it feel burning hot, hot, warm, cool, cold, or freezing cold? And don't forget to check that weather app to see what the number is for the temperature. All right, so this week we've been talking all about feelings, right? We read that Dr. Seuss book called My Many Colored Days that had colors going along with feelings, right? We also read that book called The Way I Feel that talked about lots of different kinds of feelings that people have. Today it's a storybook that's sort of about how people sometimes feel. This is one of my favorite storybooks to read. It's one that I read and my mom and dad read to me when I was a kid. So let's look in the mystery envelope and see what it is. I bet some of you have read this book. So this is called Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Have some of you read this book before? I bet some of you have. It's a pretty popular book. So here we go. I went to sleep with gum in my mouth, and now there's gum in my hair. And when I got out of bed this morning, I tripped on the skateboard, and by mistake, I dropped my sweater in the sink while the water was running, and I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. You can see that he looks kind of grumpy. At breakfast, Anthony found a Corvette Stingray car kit in his breakfast cereal box, and Nick found a junior undercover agent code ring in his breakfast cereal box. But in my breakfast cereal box, all I found was breakfast cereal. I think I'll move to Australia. So I don't know if people still eat breakfast cereal this way. This book's kind of from when I was a kid. And back then, sometimes people would buy those little tiny boxes of breakfast cereal, and inside them there might be a little surprise. In the carpool, Mrs. Gibson let Becky have a seat by the window. Audrey and Elliot got seats by the window too. I said I was being scrunched. I said I was being smushed. I said if I don't get a seat by the window, I am going to be car sick. No one even answered. I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. At school, Mrs. Dickens liked Paul's picture of the sailboat better than my picture of the invisible castle. At singing time, she said I sang too loud. At counting time, she said I left out 16. Who needs 16? I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I could tell because Paul said I wasn't his best friend anymore. He said that Philip Parker was his best friend, and that Albert Moyo was his next best friend, and that I was only his third best friend. I hope you sit on a tack, I said to Paul. I hope the next time you get a double-decker strawberry ice cream cone, the ice cream part falls off the cone and lands in Australia. Boy, he's having a bad day, isn't he? There were 2 cupcakes in Philip Parker's lunch bag, and Albert got a Hershey bar with almonds, and Paul's mother gave him a piece of jelly roll that had little coconut sprinkles on the top. Guess whose mother forgot to put in dessert? It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. That's what it was, because after school my mom took us all to the dentist, and Dr. Fields found a cavity just in me. Come back next week and I'll fix it, said Dr. Fields. Next week, I said, I'm going to Australia. Poor kid. He's having a bad day. On the way downstairs, the elevator door closed on my foot, and while we were waiting for my mom to go get the car, Anthony made me fall where it was muddy, and then, when I started crying because of the mud, Nick said I was a crybaby, and... Oh, boy. While I was punching Nick for saying crybaby, my mom came back with the car and scolded me for being muddy and fighting. I am having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, I told everybody. No one even answered. So then we went to the shoe store to buy some sneakers. Anthony chose white ones with blue stripes. Nick chose red ones with white stripes. I chose blue ones with red stripes. But then the shoe man said, "We're all sold out." They made me buy plain old white ones, but they can't make me wear them. When we picked up my dad at his office, he said I couldn't play with his copying machine, but I forgot. He also said to watch out for the books on his desk, and I was careful as could be, except for my elbow. He also said don't fool around with his phone, but I think I called Australia. My dad said, please don't pick him up anymore. It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. There were lima beans for dinner, and I hate limas. There was kissing on TV, and I hate kissing. My bath was too hot. I got soap in my eyes. My marble went down the drain, and I had to wear my railroad train pajamas. I hate my railroad train pajamas. When I went to bed, Nick took back the pillow he said I could keep, and the Mickey Mouse nightlight burned out, and I bit my tongue. The cat wants to sleep with Anthony, not with me. It has been a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. My mom says some days are like that. Even in Australia. That's one of my favorite books from when I was a kid. We used to read that book all the time. All right, so let me show you what we have today. In your packet, you have a little book that looks like this called My Emotions. And this is for you to read with somebody, your mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, older brother or sister that know how to read. All right, so I'm going to show you inside of it. Sometimes I am happy. Sometimes I am sad. I'm going to lose this tray here. So it has picture on each page of a kid showing their face when they are feeling that certain way. Sometimes I am bored. Sometimes I am worried. Sometimes I am scared. Sometimes I am proud. Sometimes I am surprised. Sometimes I am angry. Sometimes I am confused. But today, I am excited. I'm loving that hair there. All right, so you can read that with somebody at your house, and then I bet you once somebody's read this to you a couple times, you might remember the words and be able to read it to somebody else. All right, the other thing I have to show you, in your packet you have a paper plate. This is to make a monster face with some kind of feeling, all right? So like a happy monster, a sad monster, an excited monster, a scared monster. So you can use whatever art supplies you have at home, even if it's just crayons or markers, that's fine too, to make a monster face, and then tell your mom or dad or grandma or grandpa, whoever is with you, what that monster face is saying. Like, are they feeling, what kind of feeling do they have, right? Sad, happy, excited, surprised, angry, whatever it is. It can be whatever you want, okay? So that is for you to do. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and a great weekend and a great spring break next week. Remember, no school next week. And today is packet pickup between 10 and 12, so don't forget about that. All right, I will see you later. Bye, everyone.